Excellent.
Okay.
So just a brief couple more minutes, Carla, as people continue to enter into the main webinar.
Okay.
I love the technology. It's so easy to use. It really is.
It is. I love Lance's background. It looks so peaceful and bucolic.
This is actually near my house. Not quite exactly this view, but this is kind of what it looks like from my house over the hill. Don't quite have all the flowers this time of the year, but first thing in the morning, it is absolutely gorgeous.
I bet it is. Beautiful. Absolutely.
It is.
Lovely.
Carla, we're
ready?
ready. Yes, we're ready. Anytime you are.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Federal Government Distance Learning Association's webinar series. I'm Carla Lane, FGDLA's Vice President for the Higher Education Sector and the moderator for today's webinar. FGDLA is a nonprofit professional association formed to promote the development and the application of distance learning in the federal government. We actively foster collaboration and understanding among those involved in leveraging technology and instructional media in support of the education and the training needs of the federal government. Our membership is derived primarily from individuals employed by the agencies within the federal government. We invite you to join with us in this exciting field. Our web address is fgdla.us. We've got some upcoming events. On July 20th, Erica Jacobs and Larry Smith will tell us about the new Marines training environment. On August 10th, Dr. Jonathan Peters will focus on how to make gamification work for learning. This is a makeup session he had to cancel for his last time. So we're so happy to be able to present him again to you. I'll discuss evaluation of online training in September or on September 14th. On October 19th, we'll have a 2-hour micro-learning workshop by Kelly Barrett of the IRS. On November 16th, Sandy Wagner will discuss distance learning instructional strategies used by the Defense Language Institute's Foreign Language Center. And on December 14th, Dr. Melissa Dickman will hold a 2-hour workshop on helping subject matter experts create online courses when they have little to no background in that field. So we're very proud today to have Zoom as our sponsor for FGDLA. They've been instrumental in bringing the seminars to you. We'd like to thank Zoom and Russ Colbert for sponsoring today's seminar. They are the best partners that we could have. They are one of our new and our valued sponsors. We want to thank you for that, Russ. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Carla. It's a pleasure and an honor to serve federal government DLA and our attendees and panelists today. I have to say, Carla, if I could, that our speaker today is Dr. Lance Ford, and he is amazing. I've known him for a lot of years, and I've watched him, and I've watched his contributions to the education and training community globally. And I think from an industry standpoint, he's number one. His accomplishments have done more for the overall industry by far, from building solutions and making features and functions easy for those people involved in training and education. So Lance is kind of a person, a North Star, so to speak, to look at from that application standpoint. So I am so happy that he's with us today, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment.
Well, I want to add to that because he's going to be telling us about using the right tools to engage learners. The topic he's chosen is here, there, and anywhere, regardless of where they are, in person or shapeshifted or hyflex or whatever. He's going to explain all of that to us. He's been a distance education instructor for over 20 years. He's an education advocate for Zoom rooms and has worked with everyone from elementary school learners to adult learners. He'll lead us in a discussion of effective strategies, tools, and designs. Dr. Ford, Lance, welcome, and thank you for being with us today. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lane. And man, it's so good to have all you guys out there with us. Russ, you almost got me there. You almost got me to this color, my friend. I was growing that direction.
It's okay. We have plenty of time left, Lance. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And you know, I'm wide open to have conversation and make this more of a conversation than a presentation. I always am over planned for these things. And I guess what I would lead with is, much like I try to do in my classroom environment, while I have a lot of content that I'd like to cover, there's nothing more important than getting your questions answered. I can record any of this and you can watch it on demand at any time that you have an opportunity to. And so I think that's one of the first things we want to set the groundwork here for, Russ and Carla, is as questions and answers come in, I just don't wait till the end. Let's plow down those roads, because for me, I need to respect these folks' time by making sure that they get what they need out of this. Does that sound good?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen real quick here, and we'll get started. I'm not much of a PowerPoint guy, so I'm not even going to go into slideshow mode, because I'm going to spend a whole lot of time trying to lead by example and not just do as I say, but have do as I do moments as we go through this process together. Here's just a brief overview of what we're going to talk about today. I am live physically at a show in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is about 4 hours from my house one way. I came over here to work with the National Extension Technology Communications Group, and they work from universities all over the U.S. with their regional extension offices. So I've been trying to help them talk a little bit about how to effectively train their learners. A little bit about my background. My PhD is in educational administration, curriculum, and supervision. I say all that to say two things. Number one, I'm passionate about teaching and learning. It's what I get up thinking about. It's what drives me to be better every day, because I know my learners are constantly evolving, and I need to do that same thing too. But PhD, y'all, just stands for piled higher and deeper. So what that means is I can take a 5-minute response and turn it into 25 minutes with the best of them. Sorry about that up front, just apologizing for that. In the lower left-hand corner, you see my wonderful family. My daughter on the end, who is a high school English instructor. My son, the second one in from the left, who turned 21 on Friday and then got married on Sunday, on Father's Day. And so he was born on Father's Day 21 years ago, married on Father's Day 21 years later. Been quite a weekend for us. Then I've been literally a classroom teacher for, that should say, 29 years, about to start my 30th year in education, higher ed and common ed. But for Zoom, my role and responsibility allows me to work with faculty members in both of those entities, as well as corporate trainers, government folks, all of whom are using Zoom, Zoom Rooms, and the Zoom suite of tools, because I know all of us think of Zoom meetings and Zoom webinar, but man, someday Russ and I will sit down and talk to you about Zoom phone, Zoom room, Zoom whiteboard, Zoom events, all the amazing things that Zoom does.
You're making me tired already.
Well, we'll put it all, and that's what we're gonna try to do today, Russ. We're gonna put all of this in light of best practice in engagement. So as opposed to just saying, this is what it is, go figure out why. Let's lead with the why and then go backwards to that. Because for me, teaching 20 years in live synchronous video environments, it's incumbent on me to be able to do that. Okay. Does that sound fair, Russ?
It does.
Okay.
It does, Lance.
I want to start with this quote because as of 2 years ago, I think the entire globe realized this. But even prior to that, in my own personal life and career, this was a necessity because of where I live. The image behind me, while not a live shot outside my window right now, is very similar to the view that I see from my house every day. I live in a town of about 800 people as of the 2010 census. There are no stoplights in our community. However, we want our students to have a first-class education. And so I'm very blessed to be at a school where leadership says, let's do what it takes to get students where they need to be in preparation for where they want to go in the future, whatever that means. So this year it meant that as many of my students graduated from high school, they went in on one end of the stage, got that diploma, walked across the stage and got their associate's degree on the other end, thanks to Zoom. It means that our faculty members like myself have an opportunity to pursue advanced degrees, because living where I am, you can't just get a PhD anywhere, much less the University of Oklahoma, unless you're using a tool like Zoom. So all of these things for me illustrate this quote. We got to bring learning to where people are instead of trying to define a physical location where we learn. No one knows that better than this organization and its membership. But I want to put that as the lens through which we look at each one of these topics today. Is that fair, Russ? And Carla?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Now, I know because you guys work at the federal government, this is a hot topic, and a difficult one for many of us to feel like probably that we can impact easily on a daily basis. But just to illustrate this point for you, there is a huge difference in this experience and this experience. Okay. So if we're going to have a culture where we expect to do the forte that video brings, which is read the non-verbal, yes, it's a great verbal communication tool. And if we start going, all conversations are done. I got that. We got to lead with audio. But the power of video is that you're reading body language when no words are spoken. You're getting or all of that without me saying anything, right? So when Russ leans in like he is now, I know he's not looking at his screen over on the right-hand side anymore where he was distracted just a second ago. All of those things happen because we have that video on. So when we talk about culture, I guess I want to underscore that we have to, as members of an organization like this, lead by example. Today you're in webinar. I know I can't see you and I'm sorry about that. But in those meetings, do yourself, do your peers, do your colleagues a huge favor and turn on that video. They'll at least know whether or not you're engaged. And that is a cultural moment where everyone kind of begins to understand, oh, I contribute to this whether I'm saying anything or not.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, this next process is really, I guess it was really brought home in the last 24, 36 months. This very first one where people are now going to be offered opportunities, options, preferences is the word I've got there, for how, where, when, with whom they deliver content. And it may not be you in your environment today, but rest assured, probably gonna say something that's not quite correct, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Whether or not Elon Musk says you got to return to work or not, there are going to be people who leave that organization just because they want the flexibility to have their own preferences expressed. And I think more and more we're seeing that from a student perspective. I told you there were 800 people who live in my town. School. Let that sink in for a minute. Now, that means one of two things. In a very crass way, it either means our parents are really getting busy, or it means that we are reaching beyond the confines of district boundaries to bring students in, some of whom are as far as 50 miles one way away from our district to educate, to engage, and to provide them opportunities. Guys, ladies, it's about preference and allowing them to have that. We've already talked about culture. It's about driving learning experiences and opportunities forward. You know, as we explore this, I'm not in my office today. Hopefully I'll be able to see some of you all someday and join you from my office where you can kind of experience the forte of Zoom and Zoom rooms. In that motion of Zoom rooms are using AI to determine where I am, how many folks are in there with me. They're measuring all sorts of air quality sensors and things like that to kind of correlate what's the engagement at a given moment when maybe the O2 level is dropping or a CO2 level is rising or there's excessive noise in the environment. All of those things are working together to really drive the learning experience forward, providing researchers such as myself an opportunity to see objectively through the lens of environmentals how we can best reach and engage our learners. And then I guess the last thing is this, and preaching to the choir here, whether you're leading an entity or not by training them, you have got to prepare the recipients of that learning to be teachers. We all fully understand that the best learner is a learner who can show their knowledge by teaching someone else. Okay, so we've got to get them beyond passivity in these environments to be able to get them engaged. Now, a quick public service announcement. All this is going to be through the lens of Zoom. If you're using Teams, you're using WebEx, you're using God only knows what, GoTo. Okay, I'm not casting aspersions on any of those tools in any way, shape, or form. Don't take this personally. Okay, but I live in EDU. I get up, I go to school, I work there 8 to 10 hours a day. I've got students around me, I got remote students from me. So this is all coming through that lens of Zoom and EDU. put these ideas and concepts into your life. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this learning engagement experience, because when learning and or work happens anywhere or everywhere, so should communication. Now, I got a couple of things here, and I don't know how to do this other than just shut up talking about it and show it to you. So I just want you to take a quick glance at the right-hand side here. While you're doing that, these are things we're about to talk about. I'm going to bring up my desktop, and I'm going to share another computer with you. All right, Russ, can you verify for me that you see right now on the screen my other computer, which is over here to the side that I'm now driving and looking at?
We see your profile in your web portal.
Beautiful. Okay. So one of the things on that list a moment ago that we talked about providing collaboration experiences wherever we are was workplaces and workspaces. We've already alluded to the fact that people expect options. People want to have their preferences addressed. And today, in both of my breakout sessions, even though these folks are working for universities, they are already exploring how they can have some sort of a flexible work model here, there, and everywhere. Okay. Paramount to that is the need for organizations to reduce their carbon footprint, reduce the geography in which they find themselves. But that means that multiple people will need to be able to use the same space. Now, not always at the same time, maybe in sequence from each other. And to that end, Zoom and Zoom Rooms has developed a process that they call workplace or workspace. Let me show you how this works in my life at the school, okay? So I may teach a class from the hacienda, but I also may come in to work with some peers, or I may teach a class in the classroom. There's a lot of different options here. When I look at my school, I see a map. And I see a map of all the rooms that I, as Dr. Lance Ford, can actually access are highlighted in green. Now, if those rooms were already reserved, they would have someone's picture or they'd be in red right this second. But right now, since school's out for summer, no one's on campus. That means that I would have the ability, if I wanted to go there today, to reserve a spot. So I'm going to click, before I ever leave my house, I'm going to click on this spot right here. And when I click on that spot, it asks me what time do I want to reserve it. I can choose to adjust those times. I can choose to adjust that date if I want to, but I'm going to hit reserve. Now, when it happened, when I reserved it, check this out. It says reserve successfully. There's my little face in there. So when I walk up to this door right here, that little door right there is the opening to that room. When I walk up there, it's going to have my face and there will be a QR code. Now, if you've got Zoom on your phone or your tablet, do me a favor, open it up real quick. Okay, I'm doing that right now with you. Open that up. And you have a button series at the bottom that says more. Okay, click on it for me. If you've been keeping up to date with your updates on your mobile device, you have a thing that says scan QR code. If you click that, the sole reason for scan QR code is so you can check into that workspace when you get to your office or place of work that you have reserved. That is built into Zoom. There's no additional hardware or software necessary to pull this off. Even if those rooms don't have Zoom rooms in them, Zoom is allowing us to do that. So it's a cohesive experience for my educators and for my learners who have accessibility to be able to go into certain spaces. This is a part of communication being able to happen anywhere. All right. At home, on the road, at a show like I am today, and I'll take the camera down, the backdrop down here in a second and show you where I am, or in the workplace. Now, from a strictly education lens, I'm not going to spend time going through each one of these, but I want you to know that these are things that the students that you're about to work with as employees of the federal government or will have done via these types of tools. They should have had, especially a 20-something, a 30-something, they should have had multiple opportunities to have these in place. how much more paramount is it to us now in the workplace to be able to offer them these flexible options? They've already experienced this from a higher ed, from a common ed perspective. Look, my students who are graduating from high school on one end of the stage and then on the other end of the stage the same night with their associate's degree have done every one of these via Zoom at some point in their high school tenure. Okay, so just know that the workforce of tomorrow that's coming to you is expecting these things. When faculty and trainers or students in your class or remote need to collaborate. Now, when I say in or remote, I want to underscore something here. I'm going to suggest something radical. That is that people physically in the room with you get in the habit of logging into the Zoom meeting. Today, I did it with about 30 people. Just told them, hey, don't join the audio. When it pops up and says, do you want to join audio? Just say no. Okay? Because we can have collaboration effectively when folks not only remotely, but physically here in the room are in the same experience. And we're going to talk about equity and inclusion here in just a second. But we've provided an equitable opportunity for those folks to participate. Now, one of the ways this works day in and day out in education is through the learning management system process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back up my screen over here. And we're going to look at our learning management system tool. I know that from the federal government perspective, you guys have specialized learning management systems. Rest assured that if you guys are using Zoom, and if that LMS environment is what's called LTI, Learning Tools Interoperability, compliant, we can take a stab at what I'm about to show you. All right. I'm not saying it's going to be 100% fully featured like what you're seeing, but man, and I'm just going to scratch the surface here, but I want you to see how flexible this is. Now, on the left-hand side of my course, and this is just a course inside Canvas, it could be in Moodle. A lady today asked me about Moodle. That's why I've got it up here. It could be in Sakai, D2L, whatever LTI compliant learning management system you got. Left-hand side, Zoom is plugged in. So Zoom with Dr. Ford is the link for the students. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to schedule my summer school meetings for this class. So here we go, doing it together. I am literally teaching music appreciation this summer at the college. Let's pretend that it started today so we don't start this thing in the rears. Let's go to a reoccurring. We're going to say, hey, this is going to be a weekly class that meets on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays and runs through the first week of August. That's literally when my summer school is over. Okay. And Carla already told me a lot of you guys are using Zoom rooms. So, you know, when I say Zoom room, you know that's different than Zoom meeting in a room attached to a laptop or attached to a projector. If you're using Zoom rooms, you have the ability to choose that Zoom room classroom you're going to be in. Type it. Its name's going to appear here in the list. If you need registration for your class, click the link. All of these things you know from scheduling a Zoom meeting, but one of the coolest things is this guy. To drive engagement, I'm going to strongly encourage that you explore how your curriculum can be applied in breakouts. And you want to pre-assign those for project-based learning events, as well as digital portfolioing as an outcome or a measurable in your course delivery. So choose those breakout rooms, create those rooms right now, even while we're scheduling. So I'm already creating them, and I can rename them. I'm not going to right now. But watch what happens when I click Add Participant. This list of participants is coming from the roster of my course. So y'all, I don't have to know everyone's email. I don't have to go to an external site. These are the folks who are enrolled in this course, and I have the ability to pre-populate them in breakouts. So the instant I start a breakout in a course session, boom, they're automatically going to those sub areas together. Next time we get together, boom. Pick up your digital portfolio where you left off, apply the knowledge, and be ready to show it to me at the end so we can do a measurable outcome. I'm going to hit record the meeting automatically just for poops and giggles, and I'll show you why here in just a second. I'm going to hit save. Now I have scheduled that meeting inside my learning management system. If I'm in a specific location, like we talked about a minute ago at that workplace, when I check in, I will have that live class as a blue button. I will click and join. If I'm on the road, like I am now, or teaching from the house, I'm going to log back into Canvas. I'm going to hit start. And guess what? We're going to be live inside that class. Now, because I did click it to automatically record, it's going to give me this pop-up. Okay. Now we're automatically recording. Woohoo! The class session. Now, the cool part about
What was
that,
that? I'm sorry, your audio broke up.
woohoo! When class is over, Russ, the amazing part for me as a teacher is I don't have to upload that recording. I don't have to send out email links. I don't have to FTP files. Check it out. This tab automatically has those recordings published, fully transcripted, fully closed captioned, already done for me.
That's
So
great.
it is absolutely amazing, Carla, because it allows me to do what I do, and that's teach music appreciation, not be a technician.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's why I love this, y'all. And I'm sorry I get passionate about it. I get passionate about it because after 20 years of mashing buttons and figuring out 15 logins and dragging files to my desktop and then uploading files and then sending out SMS or email or chat messages to tell students that all that's done. It's completely finished. I just taught the class and we walked away. Do we have any questions out there yet, Russ or Carla? You seeing anything?
No, I think, wow, I think I'm amazed. I have a suspicion that our attendees, our audience is probably amazed at this because of so many different levels of integration that you just went through with a couple of clicks.
It blows my mind every time we explore this because truly it's done for me as a faculty member. I'm literally walking in and teaching my class and walking out because those Zoom rooms, if you're using rooms, y'all, you know that Zoom rooms can automatically start the meeting and they become the host. So all my breakout controls, everything is on my Zoom room. Focus mode. For those of you who don't know what focus mode is, it's a mode that Zoom has created for teachers to be able to basically say, everybody plug your ears for a second. Hey, listen to me. Stop looking at everybody else. When you click focus mode, it turns off all participant videos to other participants, makes you full screen as the leader of the training, and allows you to still see all of your participants' images. They just can't see each other.
Does that help me proctor an exam, for example?
Oh my gosh, yes. You can watch those eyes go back and forth. And someday, Russ, you and I and anybody else on this call that wants to, we'll discuss an overlay into Zoom called class.edu. Just write it down real quick, class.edu. It is an overlay that allows you to actually, if they give you permission, to see the individual learners' video cams and their screens all at once. So if you are proctoring an exam, you can see them all at the same time.
Wow. And Valerie in the chat just says she's taking it all in, Lance. So just as I am, we're just watching and listening very carefully to you.
All right. I'm sorry, Valerie. I know I'm like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. So thank you for that. Thank you for that positive feedback. Okay. We're going to talk about another topic here. When you need to stay productive, it's paramount that Zoom does not force you into some location that you're not already comfortable with. All right. So connecting those work streams, you see a URL there, make a note of it, marketplace.zoom.us. Okay. Marketplace.zoom.us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire off a Zoom meeting over here because I want to show you what the power of marketplace.zoom.us really does for us. Okay. Let's go here. Inside my Zoom, I have this button right here that says apps. Now, I don't know how you engage your learners. I don't know what strategies or external softwares, but the ones you're looking at right now, I'm hoping you've minimized me or stuck me up in the corner somewhere at marketplace.zoom.us. Some of those are things that you will probably use. I'm a Kahoot guy. Don't know if you use it or not. Okay. But in the past, whenever I've used Kahoot, it has forced me to go out. It has forced me to go into that portal, share that screen and everything else. Check this out. Kahoot is built into Zoom. All right, look right there. There's a library of Kahoots that I can open up. I'll scroll down here. Now, I can't do this in a webinar right now. This is just in Zoom meeting. That's why I'm not doing it live for you guys to start answering Kahoot questions. Okay. But literally, I come in and I hit start. We're in it. We're in the Kahoot right now inside Zoom. That's all there is for me to do. I never have to leave this engagement strategy. So I guess technically, if you wanted to get your phone out right now and go to kahoot.it and type in game pin, I would see your name there, and you could do it. But that would still be a separate experience. We're talking about putting this entire process directly into your Zoom moment. One screen, one pane of glass, the tools that you already use. I don't have time to talk about it today, but suffice to say, if you're a Google shop or an O365 shop, I'm just going to open up Google real quick here. Well, let's do Microsoft because most of y'all are probably Microsoft guys and ladies. Here's my Outlook calendar. I populate this in. I call this the Russ and Carla class. You may or may not know that you can click Zoom, add a Zoom meeting to it, and have it populate. Now I'm a Google single sign-on, so I got to go there first. All right, so I'm sorry about that. But it will populate directly from my single sign-on, even in Google. Here we go, right back into my calendar. No more copying and pasting from an external portal and putting that crap into an invite and sending that out and praying that everybody got it. And if you have a Zoom room, dude, type in the Zoom room you want to use. And when you walk into that room, there will be a blue button on that Zoom room that you just joined this meeting with. These integrations are built so that the workflow gets out of your way and lets you do what you do, and that is engage your learners. Okay, Russ, sorry, didn't mean to go off the chain on that there, but I did want to show them those very, very powerful tools.
Gosh, you know what, back a few years ago, I was the video training officer for the US Navy.
Yes.
And I had nothing like this. I had nothing. Everything I did with all of those professors and instructors was so manual, Lance. If I had one of these functions, it would have been a miracle. But I didn't have any of them, but I do today.
I know. And I think I have to be careful here because I know I'm probably talking to a lot of folks who are not the administrators of your Zoom environment that you find yourself working in. Okay. So I'm going to be real careful. What I want you to do, and this is the most careful way I can say it, is take these features and literally beat down the door of the person who's the Zoom admin until they have an opportunity to experience them. Because once they experience what we're talking about here, they're going to eventually, I think they will say, hey, we understand the power of this, and expediting what you do and getting you out of the minutia of copying and pasting things into other areas and letting you focus on your job. That's the power of what Zoom is trying to enable for you here. Okay, let me just share a screen. I'm going back. I told Russ and Carla when we got started, family, that I have, because I'm in a breakout room at this conference and it's slated to go live at the top of the next hour. They wanted me out at 15 till. I begged to be here till 10 till. So we're gonna go as quick as we can. This conversation around accessibility and inclusion, if there is no other reason, Russ, for folks who are in the room to be in Zoom, this is the reason. Again, if you have no other reason to say everyone who is in the room needs to be on Zoom, then what I'm about to show you, it's reason enough in my mind. So let me go over here real quick. We're going to come back to this Zoom call that I'm in. This is a Zoom meeting. I'm going to close out Kahoot, get it kind of out of the way. You've probably all seen closed captioning, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. This is a feature that allows your participants to get what you're saying as a presenter pushed to them in closed caption. Let's say you have somebody on row 4 who has a hearing impairment and you don't have ASL interpretation going on in the room. The short and skinny way to do this is fire off a Zoom meeting, hand them the link and tell them to turn on closed caption, because everything you say is going to be put right here. Now, I'm about to blow some of your minds, because some of you, like me, are working with folks who English, is not their primary spoken language. Let me show you what Zoom is working on right now. Translate to. So
Okay,
I'm going to,
so Lance, we're still
yes.
seeing your Google Slides at the moment.
Oh, let me stop that share. I'm sorry. Stop that share. Let me go back here real quick. Thank you, Russ, for
Because
stopping
I
me.
know where you're going with this, and this will blow my mind because this is the most amazing thing that I've seen in my entire time that I've been an educator.
It's the synthesis, not the antithesis. It's the synthesis of individualized, differentiated learning, right? Because the great promise of a tool in someone's hand while class is going on is not that it's a distraction or that it's a drill and kill device. The great promise of a tool in someone's hand is that they can differentiate their learning experience from the person who's seated right next to them. Okay. What you see right here is way number one that we do that. Now, are you seeing that, Russ? Are you seeing that close?
Yes, absolutely. I was going to read
Okay.
it. Number one, it says, I deserve a pay raise.
I absolutely you do 100%.
I'm kidding. Yes,
All right.
I can see it.
So I'm going to go here, and here's the beauty of what I'm about to do. As this is getting released into the wild, each person who is participating in a Zoom room or a Zoom meeting has the ability to click this caret to choose the language that is their native tongue. This is not a one and done for everybody in the meeting and everybody gets the same translation. Every person can choose their own individual language. And while the presenter continues to speak in English, that is translated in real time into their native tongue. Now, we can change a couple of views. I'm going to show original and translated here as a part of this. So at this point, you would, if you're learning English, or maybe English is your second language and you're really trying to brush up on that, you would see what I'm saying in English and simultaneously see that translation. Whether your native tongue is Portuguese and the person's next to you is French and the person's next to them is German, and when I say next to them, I literally mean in the same room, we now begin to understand why it's important that everyone in the room and outside of the room is in Zoom at the same time, okay? Because we need to individualize and differentiate this learning opportunity for them. Some of you are saying, well, my native language that I speak when I teach, if I could teach the class in my native language, I would choose to teach it in German. Okay, great. I wouldn't understand anything, but I could say they are speaking in German. I would like it translated to English, please. So this goes both ways. This is not just an English to, this is an from your tongue that you're speaking into English.
And you better believe this is used every single moment within the United Nations and within NATO.
Great point. Enough said here. Because I don't live in the same world that you guys live in and day out. But to me, if you can take your teaching and learning environment in that direction, holy moly. If all we do is meet accessibility challenges with Zoom, then I think we've come a long way, baby. All right, Russ, I got 5 more minutes. Are there any questions before I just start like rapid fire going here?
Nope, go ahead.
As if there hasn't been enough rapid fire this whole time, right? Okay, so let me share this screen. And I will try to illustrate these as quickly as I can. Oh, by the way, before we leave this, if you find yourself on an island at some point trying to get some help in Zoom, please, community.zoom.com. That is your best place to start. There are educators, there are government employees, both from a technical perspective and a teaching perspective involved in this community today, almost 150,000 folks. This is a really just-in-time help environment. Also, if you want to level up your knowledge, okay, head over to learning, Learning, learning.zoom.us. There are complete courses. I'm just going to pop over to one real quick. Okay. And do yourself a favor, use your Zoom login up here in the sign in area, because if you'll do that, then you can keep track of the courses you've completed. And what Zoom is trying to do is really build some sort of a certification process for folks who complete these and get badged kind of deal. For anybody that is going to be teaching via Zoom, I strongly suggest that you take 31 minutes out of your life and run through, and that's all 4 courses, by the way. They're modules. So when it says courses, it means modules. It only takes 31 minutes to go to. Things to think about before you start in a Zoom environment. Okay, obviously you see webinar rooms. These are all free. If you're an administrator here, the new Zoom whiteboard is here. Pervasive chat, that's chat outside of a live meeting, is here. Getting started with Zoom in education. Great content, all sub 1 hour of your life. Trust me, well worth it. Okay, enough said on that. Now, with the time we have left, the six or 7 minutes I can squeeze in here, I'm going to give you these tips, these check out and try this tips. Take your cell phone out. This is what I told everybody in my class to do earlier today. This is going to go on the screen like a rapid fire. So take your cell phone out or hit your screen capture button icons, okay, and capture some of this stuff. Live transcripting, we've already talked about. One of the things we have not talked about is the new Zoom whiteboard. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to share something else and show you what I mean when I say the new Zoom whiteboard. Check this out. Inside your Zoom login, left-hand side, you have a brand new tool called whiteboards. These whiteboards were created in live Zoom meetings, but even though those Zoom meetings are long gone, they're done, they're over, they're history, I can pick up and I can continue to annotate. I can share these with different folks. I can make them editors, owners, commenters, or view-only folks. So we finished the meeting. Now I need to get some more people's input on this. Let's share this out. We brainstormed this. We shared all this information. How do we make that happen? We went into whiteboards during our live meeting, right there. Okay. We hit the whiteboard button. Check this out. Here's the library of all those boards. So I can pick those up and bring them back into meetings, or I can create a brand new whiteboard for this particular group. I can share this out and make everyone a permanent editor, or permanent viewers, or permanent commenters. So guys, this shows you that Zoom's commitment is beyond the live meeting. Zoom is no longer just a tool that we use live in meetings. It is a tool that we use as the glue between our meetings. All right, let me get back to our presentation real quick. Where is it, Lance? It's here. Okay. Scroll down, Lance, scroll down. I'm almost there with you guys. Here we go. Advanced polling. Man, I don't know if you ever try to create a poll in Zoom or not, but it's the most frustrating thing since before sliced bread, okay? Because every time you had a meeting, you had to create a poll for that meeting, or you had to build a template and then apply it. Stop. Those days are done. Go back to your Zoom login. Do me a favor, go to meetings. And again, screenshot this. Okay, screenshot this. Over here to the right-hand side, you see polls and quizzes. So these are polls and quizzes that, yes, include things like matching, rank order, short answer, long answer, fill in the blank, rating scales. And yes, you can add, don't save that. You can actually add images to these questions now. Now, once I've created all this, I created this at midnight the night before. Once I created all that, how did I come in and get that going in my Zoom meeting? Check this out. I went right back to the same Zoom meeting where we were whiteboarding a minute ago. I went down to polls and quizzes, and here are the ones from my library. You guys, that means I can reuse these over and over and over and over. It doesn't matter what template I chose. It doesn't matter what meeting I'm in. As long as I'm the host and the owner, this stuff is going to be here.
Will it score the quizzes?
Yes, ma'am. It will. Oh, gosh. It will score the quizzes. And today, at this point in its evolution, with that LMS plugin I showed you, it will create a new assignment inside the assignments list of the LMS and make it the name of the poll. Now, it won't take the scores automatically over there yet. That's coming, right? But it will do those other processes.
You're looking like a talking poll.
I know. Sorry. Let me get that out of here. Stop that share. So yes, ma'am, absolutely 100%. It's starting to take that information and move it back and forth between these two environments.
That's great. That really gives you a lot more to be able to do.
Amen. Right? Can I get an amen from the audience?
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like it's Sunday again. Okay, I'm going to close this out. Close this out. Two more things. And I'll tell you, like Elizabeth Taylor told her 6 husbands, I won't keep you much longer. Okay, I promise. Let me
Wow.
share this screen. Boom,
Throwback.
boom. Yeah, exactly. Let's do this.
Who's
Everybody's
Elizabeth
going, who's
Taylor?
Elizabeth Taylor?
I know all you 20 somethings are really wigging out right now. Let me go back over here. Just so you know, and again, one last thing, take a picture of this, okay? Because what I wanted to show you is many times when we get into an environment where we're trying to solicit individual feedback, we all understand that not all 60, 70 of us can talk at once. It's a cacophony of sound, but it's incumbent on me to still be able to get that feedback. So every time I mention chat, trainers wig out because they're like, oh, I can't keep a record of that. I don't want all, okay, stop. If you'll go into your chat environment inside your live Zoom call and click these 3 little dots right here, you can determine on the fly, and you can change this throughout the entire meeting, who can chat with whom. When it's appropriate, it's no one. When it's Q&A, it's host and co-host. When it's soliciting feedback that everyone can weigh in on, it's everyone. If you're teaching a middle schooler like I am usually, it's never this one. Okay, I just, word to the wise there. Don't do that. Adults, maybe okay. Now, polling, we talked about that. If you've ever had a Zoom meeting go sideways on you and you just feel like you're totally out of control because participants are doing stuff that you're like, what button do I mash to make it stop? Okay, right down here in the corner, there's a button that says security. Look at this. Suspend participant activities. It is the equivalent of putting a big timeout in the middle of that engagement. All right. So if you're in total panic mode and hell is breaking loose, click suspend participant activities and pull it all back down so you can do this. Okay. One last thing, Russ, and I got people coming in. God love them. They're being so patient with me. Oh, yes. The arrow tool and the vanishing pen. Let me go in here real quick to annotate. How many times have you done something like this? Guys, this is going to be on the test tomorrow. And you've highlighted something, or this is really important, and you've drawn an arrow to it. And you don't know if anybody got that or not. There is one way to guarantee they're going to get it. Let me show you. I'm going to change the tool from that and clear that off real quick. To change the tool from that into a different tool. I'm actually going to use, oh, we're in webinar and I can't do it. Okay, let me do it over here. Sorry, let me go over here. This is going to get freaky because I'm about to share a screen inside a second thing. I'm going to use the tool that's labeled Spotlight, only I'm going to change it to Vanishing Pen. All right. This is where you make sure people are watching you. You go, guys, this is going to be on the test tomorrow. And when you let up, it starts disappearing. Every person who is in your webinar is going to go, whoa, 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 what was that? What was that? What was that? And you're going to go, I guess you were looking at the other screen, Russ, weren't you? Yeah. It's right here. Make sure you're paying attention to that because that part is going to be on the test tomorrow.
Lance, when we release these kind of features, I, as the customer success manager, have to brief customers on how this works. However, I really didn't know how it worked. So I would just say, it's a vanishing pen, figure it out. But now I know.
I'll leave you guys with this. In video communications, it's all about the visual. I am 5'9", I weigh 215 pounds. I'm 51 years old. I have a bald spot almost the size of Russ's, but it's on the back of my head. I am nothing to look at.
Click. Goodbye, Lance.
I'm sorry. I am nothing to look at over the course of a Zoom meeting. But if I can bring in visuals that keep pulling your eye back to where, and I don't tell you what's on the screen, I'm just circling things and that's disappearing, ain't nobody looking away. Okay? It's visual collaboration and communications.
But
Make
it's
it
got an
visual.
evil streak, really an evil streak in you too.
And teaching me a video way too long, Carla. Way too long. So just so you guys know where I'm at right this second, because I despise virtual backgrounds. So I'm going to actually turn this thing off for a second. Let's go here and turn it off. These wonderful people have put up with me for the last hour in this room, right? And I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for allowing me to join you today. Russ, Carla, this has been a fun time for me. And thanks for having me. Maybe next time we'll do it from my office. We can play around with some Zoom rooms.
I think we've got another 6 or 7 hours that we'd like to book you for.
No one can endure that.
Oh, yes.
I always tell people about the time I stand up that the brain cannot input more than the butt can endure.
Well,
Okay. So there you go.
so true.
Wow,
Thank you so
boy,
much, Lance.
he's also a philosopher,
Yeah,
Carla.
I can tell. All right.
Gosh.
I don't see any. Are there questions in the
Thank you.
room? Or people are saying thank you, Margaret?
Oh, they've already done it. Look at them. They just added Zoom inside a Canvas course. Whoa!
Okay,
Wow, way to go, Margaret.
that's great. Okay. Anything else in there that we want to look at? Thank you. Okay, that's good.
All right.
Well, we will.
Well, I got to get
call it
out of here
a day.
before they
Yeah.
throw me out the window.
Okay, thank you, Lance, and thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate it. That's the end of the webinar. Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye, Alex. Thank you.